This one's going to get a lot of clicks, okay? Let's talk about race. Oh man, the former leader of a white militia that deliberately doesn't talk about race that often is making a video about race. And I actually do make videos about race. And usually when I do, I like to keep racial topics strictly in the world of science, anthropology, the way human beings interact with their world, stuff like that, human nature. And I think that's the most mature way to have a racial conversation. Everything else is noise. Everything else is drama, noise, emotional blackmail, and everything. The truth is, Homo sapiens are tribal, and we form tribes. And if you have groups of people that have been separated on different continents for thousands of years, they're going to have like different temperaments and stuff. That's like pure science, okay? Like if I'm going to get in trouble with YouTube for saying that, I'm just speaking scientific reality. The baby boomers had this idea that I always think was naive, and they basically thought that, hey, we can have a such thing as a post-racial society. Everybody's just going to sing Kumbaya, and we're going to pretend that race doesn't exist. I think that was delusional. I think that was dumb. I think that when you try to force that into a reality, it's going to fail even harder. I don't think it naturally happens. I think it can kind of occur over a certain number of time. Certain people will, mingle or whatever over the course of a long enough period of time. All kinds of things can happen, okay? The universe is very random. If you give something enough time, something will happen, yes. But as a general rule, I think people are tribal and they stick to their own people. And I think that when you look at race as a social construct, as something that doesn't exist, I think that's extremely damaging. I think it's extremely damaging and extremely naive that people were just going to drop all the tribalism, and that people were going to drop tens of thousands of years of the way things were done, human evolution and all that, and just whimsically just drop all of that, and everybody's going to sing Kumbaya, and everybody's going to, I think that is a silly idea, and I think there isn't a lot of honest conversations about race actually happening. The truth is like people are tribalistic. If you have a neighborhood with, and I'm going to use races that don't exist. You have blue people and you have green people, okay? And you have a bunch of green men move in to have sex with the blue woman, okay? Now, what do you think is going to happen? When one tribe moves into another, you have a bunch of men move into your neighborhood and they're all trying to get the woman in the neighborhood that you grew up in. That causes tribal tension. People pretend it doesn't exist. Particularly white people are very good at pretending it doesn't exist. like white people, I salute white people for pretending things don't exist. You guys are really good at just like white people just like, oh, let's just ignore, like there would be something crazy going on in a room. You go to Walmart and somebody could be rolling on the floor and vomiting and doing crazy shit, and a white person will just be like, let's pretend that's not happening. Like, I got to give it to white people. White people are really good at like seeing something like that and just be like, let's pretend nothing's happening. It's just this thing. Look, it's obvious. A lot of, if you're a young white guy in the South and you go to Walmart and you see all these white girls running around with mixed kids, how does that make you feel? I don't have to say how it makes. The comment section will fucking tell you, okay? I don't want to say it on video because I might get in trouble, but how does that make y'all feel? Leave it in the comments. If you're a young white male from the South and you go to Walmart and you see a bunch of beautiful white girls with mixed kids running around and there's no dad anywhere in sight, how does that make you feel? The comment section will tell you. I don't need to tell you. It's, again, bro, it's people are in competition for resources, and woman is a resource that men historically have fought and died over. And if you mean to tell me that tribe A doesn't take it personally when tribe B comes in and has kids with their woman, you're insane. I mean, that's not anthropologically sound. And so we have built a world where we pretend these issues don't exist, and we pretend that human beings are past tribalism and all that, and it's clearly not true, and it's clearly failed. And if there's ever going to be a sort of healing past that, you're just going to have honest conversations about these things. Nobody wants military-aged males from another tribe coming into his neighborhood and sleeping with all of his women, bro. People don't want that. And when you do that, it causes problems. If you go into a place, an area you didn't grow up in, you and your friends, and then you start flirting with the woman of a different tribe, trying to get their woman pregnant with your kids, you're going to cause conflict. That is as old. You could open the Bible or whatever, and you could see that. You could open any history book, any book about anthropology, and you could see that causes problems. That causes tension. And again, this is one simple thing. It's not even just that, it's jobs. It's jobs, it's women, it's resources. People fight to the death over these things. Now, in today's world, there's at least the illusion that there's an unlimited number of resources for everybody. I think it's an illusion, by the way. And I think the reason black people get confused when it comes to interactions with white people is this. Black people get mixed messages because our words say that we really like them and we want to be around them and that we view them as equals and this and that. Our actions don't say that. That's what our words say. And this is how black people feel. And this is why black people like me, by the way, because what we tell black people is that we value them, we want them around us, and that we think they're equal to us, and that's what we tell black people. Do our actions actually reflect that? And it leaves black people very confused, right? Because what we tell them is ridiculously flattering compared to how we actually feel about them as a whole. At best, we view them as a nuisance that occasionally produces somebody that we like. So you might have like a black friend. Of course you have black friends. I have black friends, But realistically, at best, you view them as, if you see a black person walking down the street toward you, you think, probable nuisance. This is probably going to, you have bad feelings. And it's just the fact that this is how you actually feel. And you don't want to tell anybody that. But this is literally how you feel when you're walking down the street. If you have any survival instinct, if you've been anywhere, unless you're just cushy and insulated and you're literally from Vermont and you've never left your mom's basement, but if you have any survival instinct and you've actually been anywhere and actually dealt with people, your survival instinct kicks in when you see particularly a black guy walking down the street toward you. And it's just a fact, and it's backed up by the statistics and all that, because you don't want to get hurt. And not only do you not want to get hurt, from your pattern recognition capabilities, man, there might be some drama. Now, he might turn out to be an all right dude. He might end up being your best friend later down the line. You don't know that. But realistically, the first thing your brain registers is, this person looks different, and this person looks like something that pattern recognition says, I want to avoid. And it's tragic, but it's the reality. We all get profiled. We all get stereotyped. You don't think I get stereotyped because of my tattoos? What does everybody think when they see my tattoos? They think I'm a terrible, racist, neo-Nazi, bigot. That's what people think when they see me. Why? Because I have tattoos that are white prisoner tattoos, and that's the impression people get when they meet me. I'm a lot more complicated than that, but that's the impression people get when they meet me. So yeah, people get stereotyped. 100%, people get stereotyped. But I just think people need to have a more honest dialogue about racial issues, okay? You can't have an honest conversation with people when there's like a gun to somebody's head. You can't have an honest conversation about anything while there's a gun pointed to your head, right? And so being called racist is a gun pointed at your head. It's an economic gun. It's a physical gun. If you don't know how to fight, it's a physical gun, but it's an economic gun. You could be, look, I could be demonetized and deplatformed for daring to talk about race, so I'm taking a risk for doing it. But I think if you're actually serious about having a better relationship between white people and black people, then you would have to come at it from a understanding of, we're not going to say things that are politically correct just to appease each other. Because black people are very confused because they're told that we love them and this and that, but our actions aren't matching up with that. That's the truth, right? Another thing that worth pointing out, and this one right here is a political truth nuke that I might get in trouble for saying this, okay? But objectively, in terms of standard of living, in terms of land ownership, in terms of two-parent households and quality of life, in terms of that, speaking in those terms, I would say black people had it better off under racial segregation than they do under neoliberalism. I think we can objectively, quantifiably say that they had a better standard of living, better quality of life, more nutrition, more two-parent households, and more land ownership happened for black people under Jim Crow segregation than it has under neoliberalism. Because under Jim Crow segregation, nobody lied to them about how they feel about them. Very few people did, at least. People were honest. During Jim Crow, during racial segregation, if you found a guy that's like, I think black people are all right, I don't have anything against them, that would be an honest opinion if you heard that come out of somebody's mouth. Because there would have been no backlash for just saying, oh, I hate them. If you said that back in the day, nobody would care. So any opinion you heard about race would have been honest. If you heard a person saying, I like some black people are kind of cool, If you heard somebody say that in the year 1950, you could actually believe them because there's no gun pointed at the person's head. You also, if you heard somebody say, I hate them goddamn. If you heard somebody say that, they're just saying how they really feel. And you actually hear it come out of a person's mouth. Why? Because there's no gun to your head. Again, the gun to your head, the baby boomer putting a gun to people's head and telling them what they're allowed to think about race is a failure, bro. It never worked. The reality is some white people are never going to like black people. And that's the reality. And you can't do anything about it. The best thing you can do about it is let them go up into the mountains of Arkansas where they have their own commune. And why can't they do that? It's freedom of association. If they want to separate, they should have the right to do it. And they should have the right to ethnic self-determination. That's what's in the best interest of everybody. Why do you want people that hate you walking around you? If there's a group of black people that want an ethnically separate commune, they should have that right. Okay? Especially since they were taken from that against their will. They should have that right, should they not? Because they had that, and they were taken from that against their will. Okay? So, my view on the civil rights movement, I think it was mismanaged. Okay? The idea that all human beings should have access to the social construct of rights. Okay, rights is a social construct, but it's a good one. It's a meaningful one. I don't want to be tortured any more than a black person wants to be tortured. I think we can all agree on that. Torture is bad. So we should uphold some standards of human dignity. Fine, I get that. 100%. Slavery is evil and immoral. Fine, I get that. But the idea that you're going to force people to be around people they don't like is equally immoral. Why was Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X ignored? Why don't we talk about them? Why don't we talk about what they wanted? Again, there's all types of alternatives to what we're currently doing now that account for actual human realities that are being ignored. There's all types of solutions to racial conflict that don't involve forced integration at fucking gunpoint, which is actually what happened, that don't involve pretending these issues don't exist, that don't involve being a cuck and pretending to like black people when sometimes I'm frustrated with black people. I think we all are. Doesn't mean I hate them, but it does mean that I don't want my people to commit suicide, okay? I don't want the West to not be the West anymore. I don't want to live in a third world country. I don't want to have no freedom of speech where I'm afraid to say things because it might offend somebody and you might lose everything just for saying the wrong thing. This is not what America was ever supposed to look like. And you have the right to say that this has gone too far. You have the right and the ability and the moral duty, really, to just be able to say, look, this has gone too far. And that's what I think has happened. I think the baby boomers, mad scientist, sociological experiment has failed, guys. And I think it's time for people to admit that it's failed. We need to replace it with something else. I think racial groups can have respect and dignity for each other, but you have to have honesty. You have to have honesty. You cannot pretend to love people and shit. It's not working. You can't do that in a marriage or a relationship. You can't pretend to love somebody. You can't pretend to want people around that you don't really want around. cultural autonomy. You want space. And the reason you want that is everybody wants that. It's human nature. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you an immoral person. And you're going to look out for your people and your people's best interests first. It's just natural law. It's just the way of nature. And the idea that you should feel ashamed for that or guilty for that is just, it's ridiculous. And Gen Z is not going for it. So there has to be a reboot in terms of race relations in America. The baby boomer plan is objectively a failure. Everything about it failed. An ethnic group has the human right to exist, and you trying to force this group to become more multicultural, to surrender their culture, is immoral and it's unethical. And that's my position, and I'm sticking to it. Guys, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell icon if I've earned it, because I will blow up your feed. If that's annoying, then don't hit the bell icon. If you want to see my stuff constantly, then hit the bell icon. I also sell all types of awesome camouflage products. I'm always coming up with new patterns. I sell camouflage stuff that you can't get anywhere else. See you guys in the next one. Jordan Jareb, signing off.